Hello everyone, Equipment War here, and welcome to my build guide for my two-handed Cyclone build. This character is an incredibly powerful character, will pretty much kill everything and have no problem against Atzeri and hard bosses. And I'm gonna go over my passive skill tree and the gears I'm using. If you have any questions, feel free to ask in the comments. So let's get started. Starting as a duelist, I went for the physical attack damage and attack speed. I went all the way down here to take Master of Arena, which are really important because it increases your weapon range, which means you will hit enemies further away with your Cyclone. And I went for Bravery and Art of the Gladiator. I went for Destroyer, always really nice 200 damage nodes. I went for Golden's Blood, and if you want, you can take this Yule in the beginning and have a Yule slot here in the beginning and have a Yule like this, which increases your physical damage, or your area damage, and maybe give you some resistance like I have right here. I went down here to take Executioner and Wrecking Bell. I also went for Cloak and Chain for some more protection and Iron Reflexes. After that I went for Splittering Strike in these nice nodes here. After that I went this way here. You can go up here if you want right now, but I recommend doing a little bit later. I went to the Maraude area, I took Armor Mastery, really nice protection. I took Heart of the Warrior, Born to Fight, and if you need more life, you can take these life nodes here. And I went for Butchery. I have By the Blade. I have Combat Stamina. Then I went for Resolute Technique, which means that you can't crit anymore, but your enemies can't evade your attack, which are a really important thing. Because this is not a crit build, and if you don't gonna crit, you're gonna have Resolute Technique. I went for Barbarism, and then I went for Cleaving and Slaughter. Moving on, I went all the way up here to the Temple area, took Century, really nice note. I took Discipline and Training, Retribution, and then I went for Amplifying, these really nice area effect nodes, which increases the area even further of your Cyclone, so you can hit more enemies. Also have a Yule here, again increases damage with 200 weapon, attack speed with access, and increase melee damage. Really nice Yule actually. And then I went up here. This is actually a fairly important Yule, and you can get it by just doing a quest in Act 2, I think it is Merciless. Got the Golden Hand to get this one, and it even further increases your weapon range, which are really good for Cyclone. I went for Berserking, and I took the whole big life wheel here. And that's pretty much my normal skill tree. If you have any questions about it, feel free to ask me in the comments. And I'm going to have a link in the description to where you can find it. But before that, I'm gonna show my Ascendancy tree. When I ascended the first time, I went for Endless Hunger so I can get the Lich going. And then I went for Brutal Favor. When I ascended the first time, I went for Bane of Legend, and the last time I ascended I went for Headsman, which are really powerful. And this is a really powerful character, especially against bosses and rare monsters. So that's pretty much my skill tree. So let's take a look at my gear. So let's start by taking a look at my weapons. I'm using Atzeri's Disfavor, which are pretty much the best axe you can have to a build like this. Increase your weapon range, curses the enemy to bleed on hit, increase the level of support camps. But this is a very expensive axe, and if you can't afford an axe like this, you can get a rare axe instead, which have as high physical damage and attack speed as you can afford. You can also use a unique axe you can see on the screen right now, which is also a fairly powerful axe. For a helmet, you want life and resistance. For your amulet, either you want the Resus Salute, which are these amulet I have right here, which increases your weapon range and also give you a fairly good resistance. But if you can't afford this amulet because it's quite pricey, or you want a little bit more survivability, you can get a rare amulet instead, which have as high life and resistance, and if you can, try to get some flat physical damage on it as well. For your rings, you just want a ring with as high life and resistance as you possibly can get, and if you can, try to get some flat physical damage or attack speed on them as well. For your boots, you want as high movement speed as you can get, and as high life as you can get, and the resistance you might need, and try to get some good armor as well. For your belt, try to get a rustic stash which have as high life as you can get, and the resistance you might need. For your gloves, just want some gloves with as high life and resistance, and if you can, some good armor, and also some flat physical damage and attack speed if you can afford it. And finally, for armor, there are several options. I'm using Calm's Heart because I have a 6-linked weapon. But if you don't have a 6-linked weapon or you want a 6-linked armor, you can go up with a rare armor instead, which have as high life and armor as possible. You can also go with Carcass Jack, you can use Belly of the Beast, you can see it on the screen right now. They're both good options. Belly of the Beast will give you better survivability than Carcass Jack, but Carcass Jack will give you more damage. So that's pretty much my gear. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me in the comments. So let's take a look at the skill guns I'm using. My cycling setup with Cyclone are Cyclone, faster attacks, added fire damage, melee physical damage, fortify, and blood magic. If you only have a 5-link setup, you're gonna use Cyclone, faster attacks, melee physical damage, fortify, and blood magic. For the auras and mana reserves, I'm using Hatred, Herald of Ash, and Arctic Armor. Other skill gems I'm using are Blood Rage and Leap Slam, and they are supported by blood magic and faster attacks. And finally, I'm using a cast when damage taken setup, which are cast when damage taken, Immortal Call, and Wallow's Mark. And finally, the bandits. In normal, I helped Orc to get a 30% increased base life. In cruel, you can either help Orc or Krating for physical damage or attack speed. And in Merciless, I just killed all of them and took the passive skill point. I thank you all for watching my build guide, and tell me in the comment if I forget something or I forget to mention something, or if you have any questions. Anyway, thank you all for watching, and I see you guys next time.